The CEO of Google is openly talking about agentic search coming in 2027, and home service business owners are still paying agencies to pump out generic content like it's 2015. This is probably the biggest shift since Yellow Pages to Google, and the problem is most home service businesses are going to be left behind because typical SEO right now still works, but the shift is coming by 2027. People are interacting with AI platforms conversationally, not just typing into Google specific keywords. And this is the fundamental change that's coming. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 things that you need to do right now to prepare your home service business for AI search. And at the end of this video, we're going to line up old school SEO, AI search, the difference, and then I'm going to give you a step-by-step roadmap of what you need to do over the next 90 days to prepare your business for the shift. So this is an article that's highlighting Sundar Pichai, who's the CEO of Google's conversation about agentic search and the shift that's coming. So if you see right here, Google CEO Sundar Pichai description of search as a future agent manager made headlines this week, and this was a month ago. You can see Pichai described a version of search where users have many threads running and are completing tasks rather than browsing results. This fundamentally changes how people used to search. They would go to Google, they would get a bunch of links, Google business profiles, click on things, and then make a decision from there. What he's talking about is agents actually going out doing the research for you and then coming back with solutions and options and then allowing you to say, yes, do this or do that, but them doing the legwork for you. So down here, it talks about what is the actual shift that's coming for search professionals. So Pichai's description of search as an agent manager changes the question that SEO professionals need to ask about their work. In a result-based search model, the goal is to rank. In an agent-based model, the goal is to be useful to a system that's completing a task. Those are different problems. So consider what agent completed search looks like in practice. You'll tell search to find a plumber, check reviews, confirm availability for Saturday morning, and book an appointment. The agent doesn't return 10 blue links. It pulls from structured business data, reviews platforms, and booking systems. This is the fundamental shift that's happening. So the shift has already started. It was Yellow Pages, then it was Google, and 20 years later, now it's AI agents and AI search. So AI summarizes and recommends there's no more blue links that are coming. It's going to be an agent that's working on your behalf. The CEO of Google is openly talking about this from the article that I just showed you, and most contractors are still acting like it's 2015. They're still paying for local SEO, and they're still doing the same old cookie cutter stuff. They're paying $2,000 a month, and they're getting the typical SEO for right now. This is not just, okay, SEO is changing. This is literally the attention, the demand where people are going to search is shifting how those results are populated. So this is a big change that's happening. So how do you prepare? First thing, you have to know your tracking. I can't tell you how many times I used to talk to SEO companies and it's all black magic and voodoo. No one knows if SEO works or not. It's just gut feeling. And they say, give me 6 to 12 months. I don't operate like that. And when I started my company, I said, we're never doing that. We need to have some type of a ranking tracker for keywords. However, with AI search, you can't measure what you don't measure. And AI search is so subjective right now. It's kind of the Wild West. People are like, okay, I just searched myself on ChatGPT, but how do I know if I'm actually being shown and what matters and what doesn't matter? So I made a video about this last week, but essentially it's prompts. So it's not about keywords. It's about the actual prompts that people are searching. And then what matters is your share of voice and your mention rate and structuring your content in a GEO fashion. Basically, you want to take the real customer questions that you're getting in call transcripts, in your sales process, and you want to use those as prompts because that's what people are going to be asking in a conversational manner to these AI platforms. Then you want to track how many times that you're being shown on that prompt, which is a share of voice. And then more importantly, how many times that you're linked to, which is your mention rate. How many times they mention to work with you, which is your mention rate. GEO is how you structure it. We're actually going to talk more about that more in this video. So essentially, share of voice across all platforms, not just Google rankings, which we're going to talk about that on the second step. Monitoring conversation search results, not just keyword positions. This is prompting. And then overall, taking your CSR and sales calls and now using them for market research and how to market your business. So what does this actually look like? These are the prompts that you would put in. So is your company good for fixing overflowing gutters on an older home in a certain area? And this is going to be a branded search. But then you can see generic searches. I need a local gutter repair service that can come out this week to fix sagging gutters before they pull away from my roof. You're going to get a share of voice, which is of the total voice or the total results. What is your share of that percentage? And you can see in this instance, it was 9%. The mention rate is how many times they mention our business and say, you should work with this company. And you can see 40% of the time. This is shifting from just a keyword and a ranking to a prompt and an actual share of voice and mention rate. It's a big shift than just ranking on 10 keywords to actually dominating the marketplace, which is why I'm making this video. So you need to shift your content type. And this is number 2. Generic content is dead. AI already knows that stuff. I can't stress this one enough. You probably heard about AI slop and the issue that's going on where people just go to ChatGPT, create some generic stuff, and then slap it in and say that it's marketing. This is easy. It's also not going to help you, and it's actually going to hurt your results. The reason that we want to shift our content type is because, one, we need real content that people trust. And it's not just about creating content and pumping it out there. But two, it's not just about creating blog posts. It's not just even about creating website content. It's about creating written content, long form content, short form YouTube content, reels, basically all over the place, making real content that's authoritative. So that way you're training these large language models on your business. Remember, share of voice is how many times that you show up on these results. So if you have a written piece over here, then you have a short form piece over here, then you have a service page over here on your website, then you have a long form piece over here in a blog post with a video. All of these things are different places that the website that large language models can pull from, which is why your content type is not just write something and put it up there. Real proof wins. Okay. So this is why the AI slap doesn't matter, because AI already knows this stuff. So they want to hear real stories, real field experience, real case studies, real before and afters. And this is why creating content from a place of starting at the business, which is why I recommend using your call transcripts, because it gives you the real stuff, the real questions your customers are asking, the real stories that your CSRs are telling. And if you can pull in your sales calls from your salespeople, the real stories inside of your sales funnel as well. This is the shift to real content. So imagine frequently asked questions built from real objections becoming discovery assets. So if you don't have frequently asked questions on your website, then you're probably missing out on an opportunity to educate these large language models on your business. This is what I'm talking about, the content types shifting to different places and doing different things. Photos and videos of real work carry weight. Text can't. Just because you say something doesn't matter. You need to show real stuff. This is why I've been really big on pushing video content for our clients, because I know that real is going to win in the long run. And the number one way we can show real is through video and showing actual stuff like, hey, I'm out here on a job site. Here's what you need to look out for when you're doing these things. Real is going to win. The problem is that when we think about content as of 5-10 years ago, we just think that making content is about likes and shares, and my customers are not going to see that and turn into a lead and blah, blah, blah. And I get that. I felt the exact same way. However, the shift in content is that stuff it still might be true, but you're not making content for those reasons. You're making content because you want to train large language models and AI search to trust you so that you have more share of voice and mention rate. Originality and specificity are now your leverage. Being able to take real stuff and make real content out of it is the leverage. This is why we use real call transcripts to make content, and you should too. You do not want AI slop. Okay, the summary of this: don't make AI slop, make real stuff, and shift your content type to everything omni-channel. And you need to get real content out there, which is going to lead to my next thing, which is you need to increase your content volume. You can't just rely on one blog post happening, 2 blog posts happening. You have to increase your content volume. You need videos going out on a regular basis. You need social content that's real going out on a regular basis. You need real blog content going out on a regular basis. You can't just lay back and say, okay, I'm just going to write a couple pieces here and expect for my share of voice and mention rate to actually go up, because you have to build a relationship. The way that I look at this is, imagine if you were dating someone and you had to build a relationship of trust with them. Are you going to just put something out there, text them monthly and just like, hey, here you go, some AI slop junk? Or are you going to do it weekly? Are you going to do it daily? Are you going to do it by the hour? This is what I'm talking about building trust with these platforms. And the most important thing is that there's such a big need for real content that's out there. So you have to increase your content volume. More touch points equals more trust signals across platforms. I mentioned share of voice. That's the percentage of times that you are shown in the results. So again, you could have multiple things that are shown. For example, let's say that your prompt is the one that I mentioned about sagging gutters. You could have a video about what sagging gutters means. You could have a video about how much does it cost to repair sagging gutters. You could talk about why gutters sag. Those are all different content pieces that then could show up in that share of voice piece and give you more mentions. This is exactly why I'm talking about creating more content and why video content is the number one way. You take your real customer questions, they're talking about sagging gutters, then you create video content, blog content, social content, all about their questions. Now you have more share of voice and mention rate. It all lines up, but you have to increase your content volume so that way you have more share of voice. Consistently compounds visibility over time. The more content that you put out about sagging gutters in this example, the more that you're going to be shown as the authority in that space. And the more that when someone searches for that exact thing, you're going to be shown. Again, call transcripts, have the real questions. Real questions, turn them into content. Content, omni-channel, a lot of content, gives you share of voice and mention rate. This is the future of AI search. Real content beats polished content every time. This is why I love video as well. I don't want people sitting in a nice studio like this. I want people that are out in the actual field at a job site making content because it shows real stuff. If you're in a studio, it's fine. But especially for home service, you want to show real raw stuff. You don't need to be polished up. You don't need to have a whole bunch of glitz and glamour. You need to get the point across with the actual words that you want to say. So that way it gets indexed and it trains the next thing. YouTube, shorts, reels, photos, FAQs, all of it counts. Same exact thing that I'm talking about is increase the content volume with a new content type and you will win. Frequency removes doubt before the phone call happens. I can't stress this one enough. Right now, there's a trust regression. People are worried about trusting businesses. More importantly, LLMs, because it's so new, they want to make sure that they trust the business that they're recommending, because what they don't want to do is recommend a business and then someone calls that business and it's a terrible experience, because guess what? They're not going to go back to ChatGPT. They're not going to go back to Claude. They're not going to go back to AI mode and Google AI mode. And they're not going to say, okay, this was a great experience. They're going to say, oh man, they didn't recommend a good company. This is exactly why there's a land grab happening, because you can be that great company for those platforms. You can build the trust. And the way that you do that is that you show frequent content as the authority, as a subject matter expert. So increase content volume, can't stress this one enough. Number 4 is fixing your architecture. So this is the big shift that is happening from blog content to actual new content creation. And the shift is this. Before, we would write blog content because maybe we got ranked, and then maybe someone came to our website, and then maybe someone read it and it was like nice, and maybe they contact our business from there, which that's fine. But we just talked about at the top, these agents that are going to be going on websites, scraping it, finding information. This is why we have to make every single piece of content easy and accessible for agents to scrape. So your website now serves humans and AI systems. Before, it was serving humans and it was using Google's algorithm and saying, okay, how fast does it load? How much does it give it this information? All of these things that were a good user experience on your website. What I'm telling you is that your website is more acting as a content hub and a trust hub, opposed to humans going there and reading stuff. And this is the shift into AI systems. So organized information wins. So for example, having specific service pages of all the services that you offer, having a pricing page, having FAQs, before and after, pictures, case studies, and then real customer questions inside of your blog content, not AI slop, and organizing it correctly for GEO, generative engine optimization. Basically, you need to make sure that when these agents are scraping your website, it gives them the information that they need to know right away. So for example, making sure that your H1s, H2s, H3s all line up with the question, the answer, and then the H1 is the actual question that people are asking holistically, and making sure that everything is lined up so that way you have the architecture set up. Another thing is pricing pages signal legitimacy to both audiences. I can't stress this one enough as well. Creating pricing pages for your home service business allows these AI systems, AI agents, whatever you want to call them, to scrape your website. That way, when someone asks them how much does something cost, it has a pillar piece to talk about. I would even go as far as not to just have one pricing page, but have a breakdown of every single service that you offer. What makes the price go up? What makes the price go down? Because again, it gives you another share of voice. Make a video about it. Make many videos about it. Make new content pieces about it. The more information that you can give, the better. And we know, you know this as well. Anytime that someone reaches out to your business, they want to know 2 things. How much is it going to cost, and when can you do it? If you can answer those 2 questions on your website as specific as possible for specific services, you're going to be way further ahead than most businesses. The next one is case studies teach AI what you do and who you serve. Making real content about real stories shows that you're real, and it's things that AI doesn't know anything about, and it can pull those real stories into their recommendation. It could say, hey, I would recommend this company because they just did work in your neighborhood last week and they did da-da-da-da-da. This is exactly why you want to give it real stories so that it can pull from. And the last thing is authority stacks. Your website, reviews, video, social, all these different things are that share of voice, which builds trustworthiness with these platforms. And doing it the right way also builds trust. And this is why you need to make sure that you are the authority in the space. You get the share of voice and the mentions. All right, number 5, most will wait too long. you're probably watching this video and you're like, okay, this sounds like a lot. I don't know how to do this. Obviously, you could work with a company like ours and we'd help you, but majority will ignore this until lead flow drops. Most companies are going to say, okay, well, it's not broke right now, 2027, like maybe it takes some time. I hear this one a lot. I don't do that. I don't search like that. I get it. But what I can tell you is that literally the CEO of Google is saying, hey, things are shifting to agents and search is shifting the way that you actually search. There's hundreds of millions, billions of dollars on the line for these companies. Like, they're on the stock market. Like, they're not going to say something is not changing if it's not changing, because there's a lot of money on the line for them. So things are definitely changing. You could ignore it and you could wait and just see if changes. But if it does, you might wait too long. And the flip side to this is that early movers are building authority right now. Like, people that have been making content for years have the upper hand. But what I can tell you is that in home service, there's a very unique opportunity, because every home service business that I ever talked to always thought that content was for likes and shares. And I used to say this as well. Like, I don't care if you post on Facebook. I don't care if you could post on Instagram, because your customers are not there. The intent searches are on Google, and that still happens right now. However, we're not posting content because we want our customers to see it. We're posting content because we want the agents to see it. And we're posting content because we want it to be indexed on LLMs to help prepare for AI search. That's the big shift. Nobody has every answer yet, and that's the opportunity. In home service, even more important. There's not a lot of content for these platforms to pull from. All they can pull from is Google reviews, which is why you need to give them the content. Action beats certainty in a shifting market. You might hear this and say, wow, that sounds like a lot of stuff that I need to do. You might hear this and say, okay, well, I don't want to be on video. All of those things are fine. And I'm not going to say you got to do that. What I am telling you is that if you want to prepare your business, these are the way to prepare your business. And if you take action on at least one of these things, do something, this is going to help you get further ahead than just not doing anything and waiting to see what happens. Visibility compounds early, just like it did with Google. The people that shifted from Yellow Pages to Google, you hear Gary Vee talk about, oh, I got 50 cents clicks for wine, on when I first started in 2002 on Google search ads. Okay, cool. This is exactly the shift that's happening right now. And there's a land grab happening over there. There's some digital things that it can pull from, which is your current SEO strategy, but there's a lot more opportunity in the content that's going to be created over the next couple of years. All right, so I broke down old SEO versus AI search. I thought this would be helpful. So the discovery method right now for old SEO is keyword rankings. And you can see that AI search is obviously conversational prompts. It's not just HVAC repair near me. It's how much does HVAC repair near me cost? What wins? Keyword optimized pages was the old SEO. You wanted to make sure that you got all your keywords in there, that everything was structured. And I'm not saying that this is not important right now, today. But what I am saying is that to shift to AI search, it's about real proof and expertise. It's about real content, real stories, real stuff. So you got to pull that out and not just rely on a marketing agency to just put some AI slop up there. How you are found. Before, it was someone would search something, they'd click on a result because the title tag was appealing to them, or your Google business profile was appealing to them, and they would go to your website and then try to decide if they want to work with you. Now, AI summarizes everything and mentions you. The mention rate, it's literally mentioning you in stuff. There's no more like trying to game this system of how things look or what happens. It's basically training these agents to trust your business so that it recommends you. Content type. Before, it was generic blog posts. Let me just create some content and post it up there so that way I stay relevant with the algorithm. Now it's content, case studies, videos, FAQs, real stuff all over the place so that we have more share of voice. Measurement was about ranking in certain positions. So, hey, I want to rank for HVAC repair near me. Where do I rank today? Where do I rank this week, this week, this week? Now it's about share of voice and AI mentions. It's shifting to authority and dominating a market opposed to specific keywords and being shown on them. And then who decides? The Google algorithm was deciding the old SEO. 87% of people were on Google searching for stuff. AI search, the AI agents, and having things on multiple platforms decide who gets shown and who's trustworthy. This is the big shift that's going on right now. And if your home service business is not prepared, in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to be searching for AI search platforms, companies to help you with this when you can just start doing that now. All right, your 5-step action plan. Know your tracking. If you have a marketing agency, ask them, how are you going to be tracking my AI search stuff? If they don't know or they don't have a game plan in place or something that they're actually working on, it might be a red flag that's like, hey, something's wrong here. Number 2, shift your content type. If you're just relying on your marketing agency to post blog posts for you, ask them, are you creating that content from my real call transcripts, or how are you coming up with that content? Also, if you haven't started creating video content for your business, you need to start today. Hopefully I've got that across, that you need to have many different types of content, so that way you have more share of voice, which then leads to more mention opportunities for you on specific prompts in AI search. Number 3, increase your content volume. I understand when you hear me say that and you're like, oh man, how am I going to do this video? Who's going to do that? Who's going to write this stuff? How many things are going to happen over here? This is exactly why you want to work with a marketing company that's helping you streamline this process. So like with my company, we have a videographer. We pull your call transcripts. We come up with real questions from your call transcripts. Then we take those questions, we get on a call with you and we ask you the questions and pull out the stories. Then we go and edit everything and then post it. And now it gets indexed. And this is 1 hour of time for a business owner every single month. This is what I'm talking about by working with companies that can help you increase your content volume. That's real content, not slop. Number 4, fix your architecture. If you are still writing blog posts by hand, or you like writing social content or something else, and you're not writing it to be shown for AI search platforms, but you're writing it because you want it to look cute over here, or you want it to sound this way because when someone reads it, they do that and they like this. I'm laughing because this is really true. Like a lot of business owners are like, okay, well, this doesn't sound right or look right. It's not about sounding right or looking right. It's about, are you writing this to train these AI search platforms? Because no human is probably going to even read this. Maybe 1 or 2 humans will read this. But what it is doing, it's getting indexed back to AI platforms, and you want to make it as readable and good and valuable for them so that they trust you. And then number 5, act before others do. I can't stress this one enough. Like, you got to take action today. I mean, the CEO is saying 2027. We already know that people are searching on AI platforms right now. I'm sure you've probably done it if you're watching videos like this. But search is shifting. And if you don't act now, you're going to be left behind. So if you want a marketing company that cares about this stuff, that's what my business does. I'll put a link down below. If not, it's all good. Keep watching the content. I'm going to continue to be coming out with more content as this shift happens. And I'll be adding as much value as I can, so that way you can take advantage of the shift and make sure that your business is being shown.